They say the sky never lies. But what if it did? What if, one day, you looked up and saw something that shattered your understanding of the world above? A gash in the heavens, a ripple in the clouds, a silent scream written in the very fabric of the sky. Nostradamus, the cryptic French seer of the 16th century, wrote of a time when the sky would appear to tear open. A vision not of metaphor, but of something tangible, horrifying, and cosmically significant. Something that, once it begins, cannot be undone. The great man will be struck down in the day by a thunderbolt, an evil deed foretold by the bearer of a petition. According to the prediction, another falls at night time. Conflict at Reims, London, and a pestilence in Tuscany. But beyond these cryptic lines, there's a much more terrifying image buried in his work. In the sky will be seen a great fire dragging a trail of sparks. This is not just a comet or a meteor, some say. It's a harbinger. And tonight, we go deeper, much deeper. Before we dive into the layers of these eerie predictions and examine what they might mean for our time, what they might mean for your very next breath, be sure to like this video, share it with someone who still believes in mystery, and subscribe to the Interconnected Zone. We go where others fear to. Consider becoming a member to support our work as we continue to uncover what lies just beneath reality's thin veil. Now, prepare yourself. Because once you hear what Nostradamus really saw, what he claimed would follow when the sky tears open, you may never look up the same way again. When Nostradamus penned his quatrains, he didn't write in plain French. He used an intricate, cryptic mix of Latin, Greek, Provençal, and hidden symbolism. His language was woven with alchemical metaphors, astrological references, and coded time loops. But certain images he described were too vivid to ignore. The most haunting among them was that vision of fire in the sky. In the sky will be seen a great fire dragging a trail of sparks. It will cause terror to the inhabitants of the earth. Was he describing a celestial event? A comet? A solar flare? Or was he warning of something else entirely? Something man-made, something apocalyptic? Modern interpretations vary. Some scholars argue that Nostradamus foresaw a gamma-ray burst, an invisible killer from across the universe. Others say he predicted nuclear war, with the fire in the sky being not a cosmic body, but a missile streaking across the heavens. And yet, others believe the sky tearing open refers to a dimensional rupture, something that transcends science and touches the divine or demonic. In 1999, many feared the world would end, based on Nostradamus's infamous quatrain. The year 1999, 7th month, from the sky shall come a great king of terror. But nothing happened, at least not on the surface. Below the silence, however, was a noticeable increase in the strange weather anomalies, sky sounds, what some now call sky trumpets, and unexplained fireballs streaking through our atmosphere. Were these signs of something beginning to crack? And if so, what comes next? Let me ask you this. Have you ever witnessed something in the sky you couldn't explain? A light, a pattern in the clouds, a sound that seemed to come from nowhere? Let us know in the comments. Your story might be part of a bigger picture, a pattern Nostradamus tried to warn us about. Now, as we press on, we'll discover what comes after the fire, what the trail of sparks really leads to. When Nostradamus spoke of a great fire dragging a trail of sparks, there's one symbol that leaps out through history and myth: The dragon. Cultures across time, Chinese, Babylonian, Norse, Mayan, describe dragons in the sky. Not just creatures, but omens, harbingers of cataclysm, living forces that appeared when the heavens were disturbed and balance was about to be lost. So, what if Nostradamus wasn't simply talking about a celestial object? What if he was describing a return, a reawakening? Some theorists argue that Nostradamus's dragon is a reference to Planet X, or Nibiru, a so-called rogue planet with a massive elliptical orbit that periodically enters our solar system. Ancient Sumerian texts referred to it as a winged disk, or fiery dragon, visible only when it begins to breach the edge of our known heavens. It brings gravitational chaos, comet swarms, and atmospheric distortion. Is it merely myth, or is it the very thing Nostradamus warned about? In Quatrain 246, he writes, "After great trouble for humanity, a greater one is prepared. The great mover renews the ages. Rain, blood, milk, famine, steel, and plague. In the sky fire seen, a long spark running." That long spark is eerily similar to the tale of a celestial dragon, a comet, or a disintegrating body igniting the sky as it descends. And if the dragon is real, if it is returning, then what does it bring in its wake? Some believe it brings disruption, not just geological, but spiritual, a tearing not only of the sky, but of the veil between worlds, a shift that awakens ancient consciousness buried deep in the earth, portals, gateways, revelations. And then there are the watchers, strange lights seen hovering near the so-called dragon's path, objects tracked by military radar only to vanish from sight seconds later. The connection between the trail of the dragon and what we now call UFOs or UAPs is being explored more seriously now than ever before. Could it be that the dragon is not a creature nor a planet, but a veil? And what lies behind it is what Nostradamus feared the most. The trail grows brighter. The world begins to notice, but still, no one understands. At least, not yet. Are you still with me? If this idea of the dragon resonates, or if you've encountered this concept in other traditions, dreams, or even symbols, share it in the comments. We're piecing together a puzzle Nostradamus began over 450 years ago. Next, we'll look at a very specific window of time, a month and year. Some say Nostradamus circled in his own strange way. October, a month of shifting seasons, thinning veils, and ancient rituals of the dead. For centuries, it has carried the scent of endings. But according to several interpretations of Nostradamus's texts, October in a specific year may mean something more. That year is 2025. Now, let's be clear. Nostradamus never wrote down the exact phrase October 2025. He was cryptic, elusive, and mathematical in his cycles. But hidden within his prophecies are layered indicators, subtle astronomical and historical alignments that point again and again to the 10th month of this very year. Let's decode one that stands out. Quatrain 169 reads, "The great mountain, 1 mile in circumference, after peace, war, famine, and flood, it will spread far, drowning great countries. Even ancient nations will tremble in dread." Many believe this refers not just to a natural event, but to something symbolic, a trigger point. And when correlated with astrological transits, this quatrain aligns eerily with October 2025, when a rare configuration of Saturn, Uranus, and the shadowy planetoid Eris forms a perfect celestial cross, a grand square in the sky. What does this mean? In astrology, a grand square is a moment of extreme pressure. a celestial box that traps energy, tension, and transformation. It forces collapse. It breaks things open. It tears the sky, and in 2025 it lands in October. But there's more. A leaked document, now circulating in obscure corners of the web, refers to a secret project, Operation Skyglass. The document, allegedly authored by a defunct agency tied to atmospheric surveillance, mentions atmospheric weakening, electromagnetic anomalies, and a warning dated October 17, 2025, tagged as Sky Failure Event Risk Window. Could it be real? Could Nostradamus have intuited this centuries ago? He wrote of a terrible king of the heavens and flames seen above the heads of kings. That suggests visibility, global, undeniable, and perhaps even politically catastrophic. Some claim this is when the magnetic shield of the Earth, the magnetosphere, will flicker. Not just from solar storms, but from something else. Something coming through. Something tearing through. Those sensitive to frequencies, empaths, intuitives, even animals, are already reporting disturbances, strange dreams, sleepwalking, missing time, visions of skies melting, clouds splitting, and something emerging. Could October 2025 be the window, the countdown? We don't have confirmation, but we do have convergence. And that's often how prophecy works, not in specifics, but in echoes. Are you starting to feel that echo? Let us know in the comments. Have you felt something shifting as we move closer to this date? Have your dreams changed? Have you seen signs in the sky? Because what Nostradamus said would follow next is unlike anything before. Throughout his quatrains, Nostradamus repeatedly referenced the fall of great powers, empires crumbling, kings betrayed, and cities burning. But every now and then, he hinted at something stranger, something beyond politics and war. He spoke of the falling of gods. When the great star burns in daylight, the false god shall be cast down, the idols will bleed, and the temple sky will open. Who or what was he referring to? In ancient civilizations, gods were not always divine abstractions. They were sky beings, visitors, teachers, or tyrants. The Anunnaki in Sumer, the Nephilim in Hebrew texts, the Watchers in the Book of Enoch, the sky serpents of Mesoamerica, all spoke of entities that came from the heavens and ruled over mankind. But if they came down once, they could return or fall. Some believe Nostradamus wasn't just foretelling the fall of religious institutions or corrupt leaders. He was pointing to an event, a disclosure, either forced or accidental, that would shatter the illusion of human supremacy in the universe. The sky tearing open may not only be a celestial rupture, it may be a curtain lifting on the great deception, the one that hides our ancient past and our true watchers. There's a quatrain often overlooked, but incredibly potent. From the sky shall come those long thought dead, veiled in light, burning not with flame but knowledge. Mankind shall kneel before what it once forgot, and fear will be reborn in the guise of awe. This suggests that the tearing sky might reveal them not as invaders, but as returning architects. And if they return, what happens to the structures we've built in their absence? Governments, religions, belief systems, they crumble. That's the true fall of the gods, not just of divine beings, but the ideologies that pretended to take their place. In recent years, militaries across the world have confirmed the existence of UAPs, unidentified aerial phenomena, objects defying physics, flying without propulsion, splitting into two, diving into oceans without impact. But why now? Could the veil be thinning? Could Nostradamus have seen this disclosure from the 1500s? Many of his visions include references to flying vessels, beings of light, and the heavens trembling with metal birds. Interpretations may vary, but the theme remains. And remember this: according to myth, when the old gods fell, chaos followed. A period of transition where reality itself became uncertain. Time bent. The sun changed hue. The sky sang. Is this the beginning of that transition? If you feel that something greater is happening, something beyond governments and technologies, let's talk about it in the comments. The community of the interconnected zone thrives on collective perception. Your insights may confirm someone else's vision or decode another's dream. And now, it's time to move beyond mere prophecy. What happens when reality itself stops working? It begins subtly, a silence where there should be sound, a stillness that clings unnaturally to the air. Then the clocks stop, not just metaphorically, but literally. Time bends, and then freezes. Nostradamus wrote cryptically of the hour that never comes and the day that repeats without end. These phrases have baffled scholars for centuries, but in the last decade they've taken on new, disturbing meaning. The great engines shall halt in the skies, the birds shall fall, though none have struck them. The sun's pulse shall stagger, and cities shall fall asleep without warning. In this single stanza, we see a terrifying possibility, time itself being interrupted. Could he have seen a future where space-time tears? In quantum theory, there's a concept called chronostasis, the illusion where time appears to momentarily stop. But what if this illusion became reality? What if some atmospheric or interdimensional force caused localized time distortions? It sounds like science fiction until you hear the real reports. In 2023, a commercial airline pilot filed a confidential report stating that for 43 seconds, every single instrument in the cockpit froze, including the second hand on his watch. Communication was lost, cabin lights dimmed, and then everything resumed, only the flight was now 6 minutes ahead of schedule, despite no change in speed or altitude. 6 unaccounted minutes. And then there are the urban legends, entire neighborhoods that seem to fall asleep in the early hours of morning, with no sounds, no dogs barking, no cars, no wind, just silence. Time stretched, lights flickering strangely, cell phones losing signal, clocks resetting themselves, and people awakening hours later with no memory of how they slept. It's easy to dismiss these as sleep disorders, power outages, or imagination. But when the accounts number in the hundreds and begin to echo each other globally, it becomes harder to ignore. Was Nostradamus tapping into a cyclic phenomenon we've yet to understand? Some believe these frozen time events are side effects of the sky tearing, portals opening or closing, causing brief warps in the fabric of time and space, and those caught within them may not always return. He warned of cities asleep while the world burns, a horrifying juxtaposition. Could this be a metaphor for global ignorance or a literal vision of places being cut off, sealed into frozen time as the rest of the earth moves on? And more disturbingly, he follows with, "When the sky tears, the sleepers shall awaken not to a world they knew, but to one reshaped in silence and fire." A chilling thought. If you were caught in such a bubble and emerged seconds or centuries later, what would be waiting for you? Tell us, have you ever experienced missing time, strange silence, a glitch in your reality? If so, we want to hear your story in the comments. No story is too small. The patterns are forming. And now we move to the final chapters. The aftermath Nostradamus warned us about, and the one place that may still be safe. In the swirling chaos of Nostradamus's quatrains, destruction looms like a storm cloud, wars, quakes, fires, and skies splitting open. And yet, he offers glimmers of refuge, cryptic mentions of a land untouched, a crown upon high rocks, and a place where time bows and silence guards the gate. Is it metaphor? Or is there truly a sanctuary? Let's look at one of his more obscure but electrifying quatrains. Near the White Mountains the old blood shall sleep, no iron shall bite, nor flame devour. When all nations weep beneath broken skies, this land shall whisper, not scream. Scholars argue over its meaning, but a growing number believe Nostradamus was speaking of a highland region, isolated, elevated and shielded not just by geography but by something older. Some say it's the Himalayas, the legendary abode of the gods. Not only do multiple spiritual traditions speak of beings residing there, Shambhala, the hidden kingdom, but it's also one of the few regions believed to remain relatively untouched in global catastrophes. Remote, fiercely protected by terrain, and historically neutral in conflict. Others suggest the Andes, in particular the high valleys of Peru or Bolivia, where Incan ancestors spoke of the Apus, mountain spirits that guard humanity. They told stories of stars falling, of sky gods returning, and of certain valleys where the stars do not wound. And then there's New Zealand, specifically the South Island, a land geologically stable with an abundance of fresh water, low population density, and natural defenses. It's increasingly cited among survivalists, mystics, and even tech billionaires as a future safe haven. Is it coincidence or prophecy fulfilled? Nostradamus also wrote, "In the land of the Southern Cross, the beast shall not set foot. Though the sky breaks and blood runs in the sea, the child of light will plant new roots." The Southern Cross is a constellation only visible from the Southern Hemisphere, particularly from Australia, New Zealand, parts of South America, and Southern Africa. Could it be that he foresaw the fall of the northern power centers and the quiet survival of the southern ones? There is, however, one eerie twist. The safe zone, according to some interpretations, won't remain accessible forever. Once the sky tears, only those who have listened before the thunder will know where to go. That could imply intuitive knowing, preparedness, spiritual attunement. Not everyone will find it in time. So, the question becomes, if Nostradamus hinted at these sanctuaries, was he speaking only to his own time, or sending a message forward, encoded through time, waiting for the right ears? Maybe those ears are listening now. Maybe they're yours. Take a moment to comment. Where do you feel drawn to if the world changes suddenly? Is it a place, a feeling, a dream that returns again and again? We're all part of the same puzzle, and someone's dream might be your confirmation. We are nearing the end, and as we approach it, we uncover the most dangerous chapter of all. What lies after the sky tears, after the gods fall, after time itself cracks. Once the sky tears open, once the veil lifts, time twists and cities fall asleep, what then? Nostradamus did not stop at catastrophe. His visions extended beyond the fire and the flood, into what would rise from the ashes. and what he saw was both awe-inspiring and deeply unsettling. When the black sun crowns the sky, a new master shall walk the earth, neither born of man nor woman, but from the machine and memory of the stars. This is perhaps one of his most ominous prophecies. Many interpret the black sun as an eclipse, others as a symbol of total transformation, of a new order born in darkness. But that last line, not born of man nor woman, that speaks volumes. In today's context, it resonates with an idea now inching toward reality. Artificial intelligence, not simply as a tool, but as an emerging consciousness. Some say Nostradamus foresaw the rise of synthetic rulers, intelligences that don't age, don't sleep, don't feel, but remember and rule. Others argue this new master is not AI, but a hybrid, a being not of this world, but seeded by ancient knowledge returning through celestial gates. The reintroduction of what some call the Watchers, the architects, or even the engineers of fate. Let's piece it together. He writes elsewhere, "When the seventh seal is cracked by silence, the new voice shall speak without mouth, and command kings to kneel." Could this be a voice broadcast into the minds of millions? A non-verbal consciousness? A digital god? And then there's the new world system Nostradamus hints at. What he calls the Golden Circle, a governing body unlike any before. It is made up not of politicians or kings, but of unknown names, faceless rulers, watchers cloaked in transparency. Sound familiar? Some point to existing global elites. Others see this as the emergence of a council guided by AI logic, or even worse, a manipulated spiritual hierarchy where truth is whatever appears from the sky. Could this be what follows the tearing of the sky? A new age, but not of enlightenment. An age of control disguised as utopia. In quatrain 6:44, he warns, "The golden cage shall shine with joy, but those within shall forget they were free." Let that sink in. There will be those who welcome the new order, who accept the guidance of the new masters, who live in domed cities, track their thoughts, and surrender their will. But there will also be those who remember, the wanderers, the watchers from within, those who knew this was coming because they felt it in their bones, and who will build something else in the shadows of the new world. Maybe that's you. And if it is, this channel, the interconnected zone, is your sanctuary. Leave your thoughts in the comments. What do you think the new order of Earth will look like? Do you believe a synthetic intelligence will rise? Or will it be something older, something watching from behind the stars? We're almost at the end, but there's one more prophecy that must be spoken. A final chapter Nostradamus may have hidden even from himself. Nashdi, in every clock across the world, the hours end at 12. A day resets, time renews. But Nostradamus, ever cryptic, spoke of a moment outside time, a forbidden hour, one that doesn't belong to the sun, the moon, or the ticking of our mechanical world. He called it the 13th hour. The clock shall strike where no number lives, and time will birth a shadow hour, neither night nor day, future nor past, and from it truth will bleed. For centuries, scholars ignored it, assuming it to be poetic metaphor. But in modern esoteric circles, the 13th hour has taken on terrifying clarity. It's seen as a cosmic fault line, a moment when the timeline splits, when reality becomes unstable, and when humanity is presented with a final choice, not survival, but alignment. Some believe this hour is a literal event, a pulse from the galactic center, a moment when electromagnetic waves from the core of the Milky Way cause our solar system's veil to lift. A cosmic exposure that shakes everything we thought was true. Others claim it's a spiritual threshold, one triggered not by technology or time, but by mass consciousness reaching a critical threshold. When enough people awaken, not to trends or politics, but to the hidden architecture of reality. Nostradamus described this hour as coming when the world is most divided, when people trust machines more than each other, when the sky is watched daily for signs, but no one recognizes what they're seeing. Sound familiar? The blind shall stare into the heavens, the deaf shall hear a silent cry, and in the hour that doesn't belong, all shall be weighed, and some shall be lost. Many mystics interpret this as a test, not of morality, but of resonance. During the 13th hour, some may vanish. Others may awaken into a deeper reality. Some may go mad. And a few may become something entirely new. Could this be the true endgame Nostradamus foresaw? Not a nuclear war, not a global blackout, but a dimensional tipping point? A point at which the sky tears open internally, where what we perceive is finally overtaken by what is. And here's the chilling part. Nostradamus never said what comes after the 13th hour, because he couldn't. His vision always ended there. That's where the ink fades, that's where the pages tear. And maybe, just maybe, that's because the rest hasn't been written yet. That is our burden, or perhaps our gift. You've just crossed through time, space, prophecy, and the fragile veil of reality itself. Now I ask you, what did you feel? Did something inside you stir? A memory you can't place? A dream returning like a wave? Let me know in the comments below. Your voice matters here. This channel is not just a mystery archive. It's a beacon for those who remember what they've never been told. If this journey moved you, like, share, and subscribe to the Interconnected Zone before you forget what you've just seen. And if you'd like to support this sacred work, consider becoming a channel member. Your help makes deeper dives like this possible. And if this prophecy truly resonated with you, consider leaving a super thanks. It tells the universe and the algorithm that this message reached the right souls. But most importantly, stay awake. Because when the sky tears open, you will want to remember this video. And maybe you'll be one of the few who already knows what comes next. Until then, this is the Interconnected Zone, and the 13th hour is near.